Hey everyone, this is Gabby and I'm back for another story. Today I have my doggy Luca with me. He's a little upset because he got a shave today, a haircut, and all his puffy hair is gone, but it'll grow fast. It always grows fast. So today I want to share a story that involves him. I thought that it would be a perfect time now that I have him here chilling in my room for a bit. This story takes place in 2021. I used to live in another area that was close to the woods, so I had a very specific routine for that area. Now things have changed because I live in a more urban city or urban area, so I don't do a few, some things that I used to do. For example, because I lived near the woods, I would go on walks every day religiously with my dogs at nighttime. After I would finish work, I would actually grab one of them. I wouldn't be able to take the four of them, so I would grab one of them and just take them for a stroll. And I think it would be sometimes at around 9. Some other nights it would be 9:30. But because this place was lit, overall well lit, and also there were security guards there, I never really felt afraid or, I never felt that it would be dangerous for me because my apartment was in a building that would literally was the last building before you could hit the woods. So it was pretty lit, and people, my landlord could see me from her window, and overall it was a safe area. So one specific night I grabbed Luca, his name's Luca, and we go for a walk. It's about 9-ish, 9:20 maybe. And we're going for a walk, and I'm just looking at everything. It's a full moon, so it's beautiful how the moon kisses the trees and the flowers. And even though it's lit, you can still feel that it's very woody. You can still see some areas that are a bit dark. And we're both kind of exploring, even though we know the path. By the way, this is all dirt road. The main avenue and everything that has pavement ends at my apartment. But anything behind, on the other side is all woods and dirt roads and stuff like that. So we're walking, and all of a sudden, I noticed there is a big bump on the grass in an area that is actually a bit dark. And I approach it with my dog, silly me. But I thought that maybe it was trash, or maybe it was, I don't know what I was thinking at that moment, to be honest. I approach it a little bit, maybe we're 2 feet away, and my dog gets curious too. And all of a sudden I notice it's moving, and I realize it's a man. So I immediately go like, oh, it's a man, turn around. I grab my dog and we're walking. And by the way, I'm not really afraid because I have with him and my other male dog, I have what you call mean looking dog privilege. Because even though they're both super friendly and so just peaceful, especially him, the other one can be a bit feisty with other dogs. But overall, they're good dogs. And so, but they're big and they look tough and mean. So people usually, stay away from me. So I'm not really afraid because, that happens with men too. They'll see my dog and my dogs, and, they'll usually, stay reserved or will refrain from catcalling me or even walking by my side. They'll always cross the street. So I've learned that I have that. I didn't know it was a thing until recently I saw it on a TikTok video. So yeah, I have this privilege. So I'm not really afraid. I'm walking with him, and all of a sudden, right, he gets up, and I'm like, all right, you need to move faster. I'm still in the woods, so you still need to be cautious. So I'm walking and I'm approaching. Maybe I'm I'm trying to think in meters. Maybe I'm like 10 meters away from my apartment, from the main avenue. So I can see the light. I can see the light of my apartment, my landlord, the main street, the light. So I see it. So I'm not that afraid, but I'm still like, all right, if somebody could grab me, they could still disappear me here. So I'm walking a little bit faster, and I'm approaching the main avenue, and I notice that this guy's following us. So instead of continuing to the avenue, I take a step to the right, and I kind of go to this baby hill where it's covered in grass so that my dog can maybe take a pee. I don't know. So I move just to see what he's gonna do, and I turn around to face him and also face my apartment because it's right there in the corner. So I turn around and I notice that he's completely under the influence of something. You can see it in his eyes, in his face, in his clothes. He's moving really weird, and he's kind of trying to see me like clear. And at this point, he's maybe 5 meters away from me. And so I look at him and I'm like, he sees me. He clearly sees that I'm taking a detour from our, where we were going. And he starts following us too. At this point, my dog, like I said, is usually friendly. So I'm like, all right, well, now if he's not afraid of my dog, what he looks like, then I don't know what I'm going to do if he actually tries something, because my dog is not really the type of dog that gets aggressive or very protective. At least, not that I know of. I've never seen him act like that. So he's facing me. He's trying to walk towards me, and it's a hill, so he kind of has. We're still on a dirt road. It's still like a very, dirt nature kind of area. And it's funny because you take 2 steps and you're already on a actually paved street, main avenue, with all the condos that are there. It's a beautiful area. I'm probably not describing it correctly. So I'm looking at him and I'm trying to make eye contact, like, dude, what are you doing? But he just like continues to come to me. And at that point I get scared because, like I said, my dog's not going to do anything. I've never seen him act aggressive. He's good with kids, with babies. He's always been such a good dog. It's just that he looks mean, So I'm like, this is not going to work. He's not afraid of my dog. And he's not going to do anything to protect me because he's friendly. In fact, he loves men. He loves men. I don't know how to explain this, but I think he thinks that every guy out there kind of resembles my boyfriend, my sister's boyfriend, and also my uncle, because my uncle plays a lot with him. So he just loves to play. He thinks that every guy is going to play with him, So I'm like, well, he's going to try to play with him and it's going to be worse. And I don't have a taser or anything with me, just my key. And so I start freaking out. And at that moment, I sort of, for some reason, I start panicking and I started having a panic attack. Like, I'm trying to contain it, but my heart is beating fast. And I'm like, I'm trying to hold my breath, and he's approaching. And as he is approaching, he's already maybe 2.5 meters away, He's coming towards me and he can't even talk. And I'm like, stay away, And I go, stop, don't get near me. And he's not listening. He's just like in a trance, you could definitely notice that he was under the influence of something. He was probably drugged or something. Not drunk, honestly. That wasn't somebody that was just drunk. That was drugs. So he's just like and by the way, he's bigger than me, thicker than me, and I'm like, oh God, what did I get myself into? And at that moment, I don't think there was anybody at my house. Like, the windows were on, the lights were on, but I don't think anybody was there. And my landlord is always in his apartment, which is the apartment above mine. But he has kids, he has dogs. It's always a very loud place to, in his area. So sometimes he can't hear, because sometimes, when they had birthday parties or for their kids, I would go up, they would invite me, and you can really hear that well. You can see if you're actually actively seeing and watching what's looking for what's happening out in the neighborhood, you can see. But unless you are actually by the window, you can't really hear anything. So I'm like, what if I'm gonna scream? Then nobody's gonna hear me. I just started having all kinds of thoughts, and I start panicking really bad. In fact, I think I took 2 steps back and I almost tripped. And I was about to scream, and all of a sudden, my dog, I think, could sense that I was really tense, and I was like, I think I even grabbed his neck like this, like, I grabbed the leash, grabbed his head, and I was like, shaking and trying to think what I was gonna do, and all of a sudden, my dog picks up that energy and immediately gets on his 2 feet and goes like, rah, like a lion. And after he does that, the man finally stops and actually sees that the dog's gonna do something, And I have never seen my dog do this, but he was actually showing his teeth, and it was like, like putting his paws and trying to get close, and I actually had to hold the leash, and I was in shock because I had never seen him do that. And he goes like, what they do, that they don't actually get quiet, but they go like, and they just continuously do that. And I pick up on what he's doing. I don't know what I would call that, but I pick up on what he's doing, and I go, if you come near me, I'm gonna let go. Like, my dog's gonna, bite your ass. And he goes like that, gets scared, and I guess his pants fall because they were loose. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm still looking at him. I'm making eye contact, and I'm like, all right, my dog gave me the strength that I needed. So I immediately get angry too, and I'm like, walk away, or I'm gonna call the police. And I actually go down and I grab like a stone, which is the size of a toilet paper. I grab it like that, and I'm like, I'm gonna hit you. And I think something sparks. He's like, and he's trying to put in words that he's just passing by, but he definitely didn't look like he was passing by. He was following me. He's like, I'm looking for this avenue, and I'm like, this one? I am looking for another street, and I'm like, I cannot help you. Go away. Nobody lives here. This is a very private area. Nobody is not supposed to cross. And I'm like wondering, where's security, by the way, I think that specific night they were changing shifts, something happened. Of course, I told my landlord complained, because it's supposed to be a very private area, even though it has access to the public because they're the woods. It's supposed to be, there are supposed to be security officers or security guards there, so I'm wondering all of that in the 10 seconds that I'm screaming. And he finally, I think the sound, since he's like reluctant and he's still studying my dog, he actually starts barking. And when he barks, he can be really loud. And I have to deal with that sometimes, because he has big ears, and any noise will trigger him sometimes. And like, even when I'm recording an episode with them, you can hear it. He's downstairs locked under, in a room where there's music, and you can still hear it. He goes like, whoa, and he just like, it's very loud. I've been told by many people that his bark is loud. So that specific night, that helped me. He goes like, my dog realizes that he's just trying to like study him, and I guess that pisses him off, and he goes like, and he's just starting to actually trying to go after him. And that actually caused him to actually get scared and fall. So he falls, he rolls to his side, because we're in in a hill. And then he gets up with the little strength he has, and he actually looks at me and finally decides, okay, fine, this is not good for me. So I'm just he starts walking, away, going down, because we're still on a hill. He goes down the avenue. Finally, I see a car that is, the security guys, and I tell them, this guy's here drugged and it's not safe. I'm going on a walk. Where are you guys? So it was a big deal. And thank God that never happened again. But I can't believe the amount of energy that I was feeling at that moment. I started panicking really bad, and I would have probably, had I been alone, maybe the story would be a little bit different, just because nothing could get me out of that state. I was starting just kind of like when I got stuck in an elevator, I started panicking really bad. And even though I was trying my best to make eye contact, I was freaking out. Um, and even though there were a lot of thoughts going through my head of what to do, it's like my body couldn't move, and I was like hyperventilating, I was breathing hard, and I was like, stay away, but I was like unsure. And I think he was picking up on that, and at that moment, I think what I realized is that if you're ever in a moment of danger, even though it's really hard to give this type of recommendations because you never know how you're gonna react, but if you can control your emotions, it's better to look tough and actually try to take control of the situation, like show that you're not afraid, you're not a victim, you're at least fight a little bit, because I think he was picking up on that, and that's why he kept walking and like, and my dog, thank God, he completely transformed himself. And as soon as he was gone, my dog went back to being like, oh, I'm a happy dog, and he started playing with one of the security guards. And I went home and he just turned into a baby again. And I looked at him and I'm like, thank you. I literally said to him, thank you. And I gave him a prize, because he gave me that strength. When he started being aggressive, I was like, yeah, what the I'm not gonna act like that. And I actually started screaming, I started yelling at him, I started kind of taking my power back and taking control of the situation. And I even became aggressive, I grabbed a stone, I'm like, what are you gonna do, and he actually realized that yeah, okay, maybe this is not the person that I'm gonna mess up with, and on top of that, he kept pissing my dog because my dog wanted him gone off the ratio that the space, and he wasn't doing it. He was still like kind of studying the situation, and then that's when he actually got more angry and he actually became aggressive, like all the way. And that's when I think my energy with him and just like us both yelling, he's barking, he actually went like, all right, fine. He walked away. I think I was told that later, because they couldn't really arrest him or anything, the security guards were like, all right, he's gone, as long as he gets out of this area, which is a residential area, you're good. But the police usually in a third world country, I can't speak for a lot of other countries, but in my country, the police tends to take a long time to come, depending on the city or the area. And also the law is kind of weird, it's kind of like, unless they touch you, you really can't do anything. So I couldn't really call the police and actually report him or anything legally. But what I was told is that he tried to do something similar with another lady down the avenue, because we're all in a hill, so you kind of have to go down to actually go to the main avenue that connects to the city. And he actually, I think he actually got in contact, he actually touched her or something, and they were able to arrest him. So I was glad to hear that, because people like that definitely shouldn't be walking in the streets. So there you go, that's my story. I hope that maybe will inspire you if you ever need a moment of courage. Maybe this will help you, or even maybe teach you not to go by yourself to places where you can compromise your safety. Even though I was mostly safe most of the time, this one time could have changed the whole story, And yeah, maybe I'll end my video with a little sneak peek of Luca. He looks definitely younger because they didn't shave, they cut a lot of his hair. We had like this much of hair left, but there you go, he's sleeping like a baby. Anyway, I'll see you in another time for another story, and yeah, bye bye.